Young Love. It sings a siren song, sweet and intoxicating. But what happens when the music changes, turns dark, possessive? Obsession, a dangerous beast, can twist love into a weapon. Teenagers grappling with identity, hormones raging, are particularly vulnerable. Their world, a confusing mix of fantasy and reality, can blur the lines between love and its twisted twin. This isn't just the stuff of fiction. We've seen it play out in real life. Tragic stories etched in headlines and courtrooms. The names change, the locations shift, but the narrative remains eerily similar, a toxic cocktail of obsession, despair, and rage. Think back to the case of Bob and Sally. Their story splashed across the news, a stark reminder of love's potential for darkness. Teenagers, caught in the throes of first love, often fail to recognize the warning signs. They mistake controlling behavior for care, jealousy for passion. The line between fantasy and reality, already thin in adolescence, can vanish entirely under the influence of obsession. Teenagers bombarded with romanticized notions of love often struggle to distinguish between healthy and unhealthy relationship patterns. This blurring of boundaries can have deadly consequences, as evidenced by real-life cases like that of Kim and Lucas. Kim and Lucas, high school sweethearts, seem to embody the picture-perfect young couple. But beneath the surface, a current of darkness flowed. Lucas, possessive and controlling, saw Kim as an extension of himself, not an individual. He dictated her clothing, her friendships, her every move. Kim, blinded by her own distorted perception of love, accepted this control as a sign of his devotion. This dangerous dynamic escalated, fueled by Lucas's warped sense of ownership and Kim's inability to break free from his grasp. Their story, like so many others, ended not in a fairy tale ending, but in a horrific act of violence. To truly combat this darkness, we must understand its origins. Why do some teens develop these obsessive tendencies? There's no single answer, no magic bullet. It's a complex interplay of factors, a perfect storm brewing within the crucible of the adolescent mind. Family dynamics play a crucial role. Children raised in homes rife with conflict, abuse, or neglect may develop distorted views of healthy relationships. They may learn to associate love with control, possession, even violence. These early experiences can cast long shadows, influencing their own romantic relationships later in life. But family isn't the only factor. We live in a world saturated with media, and teenagers, especially, are bombarded with messages about love and relationships. Remember the case of Mary and John? Their story, tragically similar to Kim and Lucas's, unfolded under the harsh glare of the media spotlight. John, consumed by jealousy and paranoia, couldn't accept Mary's growing distance. He stalked her, harassed her friends, threatened anyone he perceived as a threat. Mary, terrified and alone, found herself trapped in a nightmare. She tried to break free, to seek help, but John's web of obsession had ensnared her. He convinced her she was overreacting, that his behavior stemmed from his love for her. The tragedy of their story lies not only in its violent end, but also in the systemic failures that allowed it to happen. These cases, though heartbreaking, offer valuable lessons. They highlight the importance of recognizing the warning signs. Possessiveness disguised as love, isolation from friends and family, escalating jealousy, controlling behavior. These red flags should never be ignored. Let's delve deeper into the impact of family dynamics. Imagine a child raised in a household where arguments erupt like sudden storms, where love is conditional, withheld as punishment. Or perhaps the opposite. A home suffocatingly overprotective, where independence is stifled and boundaries blurred. These environments, though vastly different, can both contribute to a distorted understanding of healthy relationships. Children learn from what they observe, absorbing the dynamics they witness within their families. They may come to believe that love is inherently chaotic, possessive, or even dangerous. Consider the case of David, a young man who grew up witnessing his father's controlling and abusive behavior towards his mother. David, though outwardly charming and charismatic, exhibited similar patterns in his own romantic relationships. He was possessive, jealous, and quick to anger, mirroring the dynamics he'd witnessed throughout his childhood. Now let's turn our attention to the pervasive influence of media. Teenagers, more than any other age group, are bombarded with images and narratives that shape their understanding of the world. Movies often depict stalking as romantic persistence, jealousy as a sign of passionate love, and control as a demonstration of care. Social media, with its curated perfection and highlight reels, further distorts reality. Teenagers, bombarded with images of seemingly perfect couples and idyllic relationships, may develop unrealistic expectations for their own lives. This can lead to dissatisfaction, insecurity, and a dangerous desire to mold their partners into these idealized versions. Music, too, often glorifies unhealthy relationship dynamics. Lyrics that romanticize possessiveness, control, and violence can desensitize teenagers to these harmful behaviors, normalizing them as acceptable expressions of love. The constant exposure to these distorted narratives can blur the lines between healthy and unhealthy, making it difficult for teenagers to discern what constitutes a truly loving and respectful relationship. Finally, we must address the crucial role of mental health. The teenage years are a time of immense change, both physically and emotionally. The brain is still developing, particularly the prefrontal cortex, which governs impulse control, decision-making, and emotional regulation. This period of rapid development, coupled with hormonal fluctuations, can make teenagers more susceptible to mental health challenges, including anxiety, depression, and personality disorders. These underlying conditions can significantly impact their ability to form and maintain healthy relationships, increasing the risk of obsessive behaviors. For example, teenagers struggling with anxiety may exhibit possessiveness and controlling behavior as a way of managing their own feelings of insecurity and fear of abandonment. Similarly, individuals with borderline personality disorder, characterized by intense fear of rejection and instability in relationships, may engage in obsessive behaviors to avoid real or perceived abandonment. It's essential to recognize that mental health issues are not a sign of weakness or a cause for shame. So how do we, as a society, combat this darkness? How do we protect our young people from the potentially devastating consequences of obsessive love? It starts with awareness, with shining a light on these often hidden dangers. We need to educate ourselves and our children about the warning signs of unhealthy relationships. These signs can be subtle at first: excessive jealousy, possessiveness disguised as protectiveness, attempts to isolate the partner from friends and family. Over time, these behaviors can escalate, leading to control, manipulation, and even violence. Education should begin early, in homes and schools. Open, honest conversations about healthy relationships, consent, and boundaries are crucial. We must create environments where teenagers feel comfortable seeking help, knowing they will be heard and supported, not judged or dismissed. Remember, these dangers don't discriminate. Education is paramount, but it's only part of the solution. We must also provide our youth with the resources and support they need to navigate the complex world of relationships. This includes access to mental health services, both in schools and in the community. Early intervention is key. Untreated mental health issues, like anxiety, depression, or personality disorders, can increase the risk of developing unhealthy relationship patterns. By providing teenagers with the tools to manage these challenges, we can empower them to build healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Furthermore, we need to foster a culture of respect and empathy. This starts with teaching our children about healthy boundaries, consent, and the importance of respecting others' autonomy. It means challenging harmful stereotypes about gender roles and promoting healthy communication and conflict resolution skills. The path to healing from obsessive love, for both victims and perpetrators, is a long and arduous one. It demands introspection, accountability, and a willingness to confront deeply ingrained beliefs and behaviors. Support systems, including therapy, support groups, and loved ones, play a crucial role in this journey. For victims, the focus is on reclaiming their sense of self, rebuilding their lives, and healing from the trauma they've endured. Therapy can provide a safe space to process their experiences, develop coping mechanisms, and rediscover their strength and resilience. Perpetrators, too, require support and intervention to break free from the destructive cycle of obsessive behavior. Therapy can help them understand the root causes of their actions, develop empathy for their victims, and learn healthier ways of relating to others. Ultimately, preventing tragedies like Kim and Lucas's requires a collective effort.